Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us for today's PPCC 26 workshop preview. I'm Lyman Goodrich, and I'll be your host for today's session. The Power Platform Community Conference takes place October 27th through 29th at the MGM Grand Hotel in Las Vegas, with full-day workshops on Sunday the 25th, Monday the 26th, and Friday the 30th. This preview series is designed to give you a sneak peek into the workshop content you'll experience at PPCC 26, presented by the same speakers you'll be meeting in person in Las Vegas. Today's webinar is going to be recorded and will be available on the conference workshop conference website on the workshop detail page for this specific workshop. If you haven't registered yet, stay with us until the end and we'll tell you how to save $150 off your registration by using one of our speaker discount codes. With that, it's my pleasure to introduce today's presenters, Shabnam and Khaled.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. It's hardly evening for you.
Yeah, so hey, everyone. I'm Shabnam Watson. I'm a Microsoft Data Platform MVP and Data and AI consultant, mostly working with the Microsoft Fabric and Power Platform to help organizations make sense out of data and these days take that data with AI even further. So I'm excited to be here today with Khaled Chaudhary, giving you a sneak preview of our upcoming workshop at PPCC 26 in just a couple of months.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Today, we're not going to talk about anything buzz, hype. We're going to focus on something that you can actually use with AI, what brings some of the stuff together. So with that said, maybe we jump straight in, Shabnam?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
So I guess a little bit about my background. I am the principal of Data Crafters. I'm an accidental data professional, comes from finance. So what we're going to talk about today is the story of a lot of finance people. So this is a little bit what we're going to be doing actually in the workshop. We're going to be bringing in Fabric IQ, Dataverse, Work IQ, and all that together to help you actually use them in your day-to-day life. So we thought, why don't we show you how we use it in real life today? So think about, I guess, Shabnam, you know this very well. You work with a lot of finance teams, right?
I do.
So let's pick one, right? So for example, accounts receivable overdue, right? It's something that we go through, export, or we have a report and things like that. We figure out what's overdue, what we're going to do about it, and then we figure out we're going to send the email out to a customer, whatever the next steps are. And the rules are different based on the size of the customer, the relationships, and all that fun stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But we don't do that reporting manually anymore, right? So we have this amazing thing called Power BI, right? You know a little bit about Power BI, right? You're a Microsoft MVP for that.
Yep.
So let's go take a look at a report. So think about this way, right? This is amazing, right? So we look at this every morning. My report shows up, right? This is my open accounts receivable. This is how much that's overdue. What's the overdue percentage? How much is overdue by accounts, like over 60 days overdue and things like that. And every week, I guess you can do this every day if you wanted, but I could kind of go figure out what's overdue and things like that, right? But again, I'm trying to go figure out what is the story behind each one of them. Are we going to do follow-ups and stuff like that? It's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to keep doing it that way?
You can't talk to it, can you? It would be nice to
technically, yes. We can now talk to the model, but yes, you're right on the point, right? It would be kind of nice, right? We have been talking about chat with your data since last year, right? Mm-hmm. Now with Copilot and Power BI semantic model, I could actually have a conversation with this model. Can you give me the overdue and details and stuff like that, right? So, which is great, but I still have to go dig through my emails, put all this together, and then on Monday morning, I want to show up with a brief saying that what's my overdue and things like that. Wouldn't that be nice?
Especially if you're a small business,
Yeah,
right? Where you wear a lot of hats, or even if you're a big business, but you wear a lot of different hats. So is there a better way, instead of you opening the Power BI report, is there a better way that you can get this information?
Absolutely, right? So one of the key things I want to emphasize on, the report does not become as important as it used to be, but the data itself, making sure this data is correct, the semantic model gets even more important. Making sure the data is good and whatnot, but now we have already paid the dues, you build the foundations to build it on top of it. So let's jump over to Copilot, right? So this is standard Copilot, right? And instead of doing the chat, you actually can do chats here, and you can specifically, if I go right here, and if I ask, because I don't want to take a risk, but if you notice, it already recognized my report. Can you give me the summary of the overdue?
So you're in the chat section of...
Right now I'm chat, right? So this is something you can do today, right now. If you notice, right?
So that's pretty cool. And it's referencing your model.
It is reading from the model right now.
Right.
Right. So that is essentially when you're having a question and answer, right? And this is Copilot engine. You can go tinker around with a little bit. It's on auto, and we can maybe change models and things like that. But we want to have a little bit more fun. We're going to go to
now co-work, right?
Correct. So co-work, essentially, for those of you who have not heard the term, Claude came up with co-work. Before that, you might have heard the term Open Claude. They came up with this autonomous things and whatnot. It can do a lot more than chat. So it can do things for you. So Microsoft deployed that in March, and then it went GA in July 1st. And whatnot.
Very recently, yes.
So this one, I'm going to do something slightly differently. I'm going to say run overdue analysis. And this is time I have to be very careful, is because if I do that, it will actually pick up a skill. So that it does not pick up the main skill, I'm going to actually force the skill over here to say that. So essentially, if I did not pick this, the run overdue analysis is one of the phrases that will trigger the finance AR collection. That is the production skill for data crafters, right? So instead of that, and I would not even have to select the skill. It would know to pick up the skill because overdue analysis, that trigger belongs to finance AR collections. So instead of that, we'll go do fictitious AR, which is a skill I specifically built to make sure that I do not expose sensitive data. With that, we're gonna say, let's go for that. Now, you would notice by nature, co-work is slower than chat because it's spinning things up. It's preparing for a task. See, it's thought process. I'm invoking the skill and reviewed custom skill, and it's thinking. It's going through the details. As it's doing that, let's take a quick look at the skill. If you notice, this is the skill details. It's an overdue receivable read over a semantic model that holds no real data, safe to put on a screen in front of anyone.
So Khaled, what is a skill for those people who don't know what a skill is, or they're new to AI topics?
You know, do you remember watching Matrix? Well, I might date myself. I was a kid when the Matrix came out with Neo and stuff like that, right?
Yes, I do
So
remember.
he's in front of a helicopter, and it says that, can you load the pilot capability, right? So all of a sudden he doesn't know
Oh,
how to.
yeah, that's a
Do you
pretty
remember
cool.
this?
Yeah, I do.
Think about a skill is almost like that. So if you notice in
Okay.
here, it's saying use when,
Mhm.
receivables and things like that. I'll actually show you my the actual skill that I use, right? But
Mhm.
if you notice, it tells you grounds the workspace, it grounds the semantic model, right? And its provenance of how it's doing, customer info, it's telling about the measures, it's customer instructions and whatnot, right? So while this is running, let's take a quick look at my actual skill. So that one will be.
And did you create this skill yourself, or is this something that you have tuned for your environment, or did it come already pre-made somewhere?
The best way to make skills is to build it yourself, but you do
Okay.
not actually make the skills. Cohort makes the skill with you. So essentially, when we do the session and Vegas, more than likely we'll be building a skill together. So what I did is I worked through the process in cohort, and I said, I now want this to become a skill. If you notice, I
Gotcha.
told you that the overdue analysis, AR aging, and things like that, if I had used that word, if you notice use when, it would
Yeah.
have picked up the skill automatically without me saying that this is the actual skill. This is the real skill, right?
So you don't have to start from scratch. The first time you do something, it will observe, and then it can make this starting point for a skill for you, right? And then you can go and make changes to it. So that's pretty cool.
And then if you notice, it talks about my models. Remember, we'll go talk about it in a second. It runs how to do the analysis, the grounding, the failure, and the behavior. It has reference, if you notice, the model queries, how to talk to the semantic model, how to draft the email, right? And it even has the weekly run, how to do that, and then advice to cache. So while this is happening, let's jump back to the presentation so I can show you just kind of the flow, right? So we are using a couple of sources. We actually keep a run log to make sure that it keeps context of what we did last week. So as we're kind of doing this analysis, it keeps a log of that analysis. We have a Power BI semantic model. We have notes specific to customers and invoices, meaning sometimes we'll be like, hey, we reached out to a customer and they said, well, we have something going on, we'll pay you in this time. So you do not want that to be notified again. So we put a snooze on that. So come back and we'll say, we reached out for an invoice that was overdue last month. They said they'll pay us by the end of the month. You put a snooze on the invoice. It's awesome, right? Now, let's kind of go through what it's doing. It anchors the run, figures out what time it's running, right? Because you need to figure out the time.
So Cowork is doing this right now, right? Right now as it's shows.
We'll go back and take a look at the outcome in a minute, right? So it will resolve the scope, the customer name and details. It will check integrity. It will see that it's using the right model. It will test the query so that it does not hallucinate. You do not want this to be hallucinating. So we have a rule for provenance. It's like you are not allowed to calculate a number. It is meant to get the numbers from the model, right? So that's kind of the one way to look at it. And once it gets the data from the model, it found out there are 9 invoices, 4 customers with amount, aging, and whatnot. It's focused on the invoices that showed up, right? And then it's checking if the invoices are snoozed or not. What is the latest notes? If there's balance matches the portfolio overdue figure, right? So it's doing some checks. And then what it does is that sometimes we have lag. So a customer, from our perspective, it says overdue, they have not paid us. But I got an email with a payment advising that the payment is either paid or going to be paid. The accounts payable team has not applied the payments yet.
So this is, by the way, this is the information that is not in your Power BI semantic model. The
that
emails,
is Work IQ.
right?
That is correct. This is Work
Yes.
IQ. So it has access to my mailbox, both mine and the shared mailbox. So it's taking a read of the mailbox to say that, hey, you know what? This is overdue, but don't send the thing yet because I can see a payment advice come through. Check this, right?
Right.
And then also it checks, the other thing it checks for is what we call email chase. Means that if I actually had sent an email asking for the details of a payment, it will check me following up, because if I sent an email last week, you don't want to send another one this week, right? You don't want to be that person, right? So, but if the customer said something and whatnot, that summary will be built in there, right?
Nice.
So then it drops the invoices that are snoozed, it analyzing the notes and the replies in the mailbox, right? And then it builds the report and then sends it to the core team that looks at accounts receivable. Instead of looking at a dashboard, it tells you, this is the deal, these are your high risk, these are the ones worth following up. For example, we have notes at a customer level. This customer always pays 3 weeks late, because it has the information to analyze that if the customer pays 3 weeks late or not. There's no point of following up, because they will, if they are more than 3 weeks late, that's when you follow up.
I see.
Some customers benefit, they always pay, but after you send them a reminder. So instead of waiting till it gets overdue, we actually send a reminder before. It's like, hey, hope things are well.
That's pretty cool. And it figures out all of this from your inbox.
Inbox plus the semantic model, all the analysis. Like, this is the part people make mistake, right? Like, if you're going to do weighted average days to pay trend analysis, this is not something you do with LLM. This is why we have semantic models, the calculations behind it that powers it at the end, and you write notes, right? The notes are held at the customer and the project level, and it's kind of reading from that. So it takes from mathematical data and human context.
I can't wait. Show us. What did it make?
Sorry?
So show us what does it come up with? You're on.
So let's take a look at it. So we kind of left it running. Let's go back and back. So we left it running, right? See, all I say is run the overdue analysis for fictitious AR, right? It has gone through and looked at my total overdue. You see the same number we looked at in Power BI. Right. Open invoice count, customer with an open invoice, oldest open, like what's the farthest back it goes, right? Single largest customer, it's doing that, per customer overdue only. And then it's building a summary for you, right? So the part it cannot do is because when I built this, I actually built it to taking my real data and anonymizing it. So there is a factor assigned to randomly change stuff up on the model and whatnot. I cannot do that with email addresses and people, hence it does not do the high-low rank list, right? My standard one, if I go look at scheduled runs, you notice this. If I clicked on this, it will show you what the recommendations were, right? And what we do after that is, if we jump back here, is I'll be like, okay, let's send the email, right? So we're going to say, can I get a draft? And that's when, based on this is human gate, right? So this is the human back in the loop. It's saying, because the entire message that went out, it went to the internal team. Now we are drafting an email. It checks our communication skills. So we have a skill for communications. It looks at the actual template, how the email should be, right? Because I'm very specific about, you need to tell them what's overdue, when is the last time we received payment, and by project, tell us where each invoice stands, right? We'll give them a template. And then it is capable of sending the email. However, I do not like it. I like to, again, introduce a human gate. Once I do that, it creates a draft and stores it in my Outlook drafts.
Oh, very nice.
And then if you look at it from that perspective, right? So this is the invoice, customer, outcome, and whatnot. These are drafted emails when it did the draft, it's with my real one, so I can't share that with you here. But that's kind of how we have taken. So personal background, right? So I've worked in mostly large enterprises in my career. Come from finance and whatnot. But as we run data crafters, we do not have the capability to take on that overhead. So I've taken the experience of my finance career and created a skill. Now, essentially, this part is like, if you happen to do that. But in the old days, in the Power Virtual Agent and the previous automation world, they used to be deterministic, meaning like you have to spend a long time to build this. But the best way sometimes we build the skills is literally going back and forth and then say that, hey, can you convert this into a skill? And now it knows that. And then as you tinker with it, you can actually ask it, oh, let's update the skill for that. So that's kind of how I look at the future, right? If you notice, model is the key over here, but the mailbox outranks the model.
Mm-hmm.
The human portion is more important, right? So it checks every single thing. It does not trust the model by itself. It does not trust the mailbox by itself. It does not trust the node by itself.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes if it's on snooze, it will not even go searching for it.
So this is pretty cool. So how can people learn more about this? Call it. They should come to our workshop, right? So I think we're going to show this and way more, right?
Yeah. So the way I look at it, right, from our perspective is, I think it's a Simon Sinek saying, like, do whatever you do, just start, right? I think you should go ahead and get started. I think the tools are now beyond hype. These are production use cases and things like that. And we live in an amazing time. Our accounts receivable process will outrank major large companies' processes now, because the intelligence, the limiting factor became intelligence before. Now it's available to us. So I would suggest that you go ahead and get started. But yes, if you want to take a guided approach, we would love to have you there. I will try to keep the IQ low, even though we're going to be teaching Fabric IQ and Work IQ. You're going to be joined by Heidi all the way from Australia, and Shabnam, both are Microsoft MVPs. So it's going to be my honor to be part of that.
Thank you. So we're, like Khaled said, we don't expect you to have any previous IQ experience or Fabric experience. If you have a background of app developer or any kind of Power Platform developer, this workshop is for you. If you want to learn how to build the AI skills into your overall system and capabilities, this is going to be a very interactive workshop. By the way, this is going to be hands-on, where we're going to help you build stuff, and our focus is going to be on practical applications, like the one that Khaled was showing you today, where you can integrate it into your real work flows. So we hope you join us at PPCC 26 on the Friday before Halloween. We're going to also have some Halloween spooky fun built into there for you. So we'd love to see you there.
Thank you. We're looking forward to seeing you there.
Hey, Thank you, both of you, for a great preview. Very, very thick stuff. Very interesting. And it'll be awesome to be able to have that in-person experience, to really reach through, see facial expressions, body language, about how things are connecting and things like that. I think that'll be a great experience. Thank you, both of you. And thank you to everyone who joined us today. We hope this gave you some insight into what you'll experience during this full-day workshop at PPCC 26. And if you're interested in the other workshop previews that we're offering prior to PPCC, you can check out that QR code that just popped up there. Scan that, and that'll take you to the registration page and give a description and a whole schedule of what's coming up next week. Also, if you haven't registered yet, there's still time to join us in Las Vegas. So when you register, Simply use the speaker code shown on your screen to save $150 on your conference registration. You don't have to do all three.
Okay.
Choose one, just
stack it on to get 450.
So I like that one. You do a combined one for 450. No. So just choose one of those. That's great. And we really want to invite you to join us in Las Vegas to connect with thousands and thousands of Microsoft technology professionals from around the world. You'll learn directly from Microsoft professional engineering and product teams, as well as some of the most respected experts from the global Microsoft technology community. Thanks again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in Las Vegas. Bye, folks.
Thank you.
See you in Vegas.
Bye.